Oops, we did it again. That's right. We saw Kiss again for the 14th time, the 7th on this End of the Road tour.
Yes.
And this week on Kiss Army Things podcast, we're going to be talking about Kiss at Louder Than Life Music Festival in Louisville, Kentucky. My name is Xander.
My name's Jeb.
So I am not kidding when I say we saw the craziest Kiss concert last night. Would you agree?
That is exactly right.
And it actually wasn't even planned, but I'm glad that it happened. So today, it seems fitting that we would do, I think, our third concert review on this podcast.
Tour.
Yeah, on this tour. So, I mean, it makes perfect sense because this was a show that we were like, look, we're probably not going to go to it since we've seen so many.
Yeah.
But then, of course, last minute, it was like, get those tickets, we're going.
Yeah.
But anyway, so before we get too deep into anything, I want to real quickly say thank you to the Kiss Army for over 500 subscribers. We recently reached that milestone.
Awesome.
And so I really want to just say shout out to the Kiss Army and thank you guys so much for watching our podcast and enjoying the show. We really enjoy hearing from you guys, so be sure to leave any comments about how many shows you've seen on this tour, what you thought. Mm-hmm. And if you were at the show last night in Louisville or on the 24th, definitely leave some comments about what you thought about the show, because today that's all we're going to be doing is talking about our thoughts and our experiences from one of the greatest Kiss concerts we've ever been to.
Yeah.
But again, anyway, thank you guys so much for subscribing. If you're new to the channel, you should subscribe. Like these videos, and that's how we know you guys want to see more content. And around here at the Kiss Army Things podcast, we always start off with the Kiss Spotlights, where we just kind of talk about what Kiss album we've been rocking to.
Yeah.
And so, Jeb, you want to start us off talking about what Kiss album you've been jamming to?
I would love to. For this week, it's Creatures of the Night. I think that
I'll drink to that.
I think the announcement for the box set has got me hyped up, so I've been listening to that quite a bit lately.
Makes sense.
And every time I hear it, every time I hear the song "Creatures of the Night," I think, okay, this might be the actual greatest Kiss song ever.
Yeah.
Just production-wise, the way they played, everything about it's absolutely brilliant.
It's a good one.
Front to back, it's a solid album. Super excited for that box set. By the way, as of the recording of today, which is the 25th of September. Go on Amazon. If you haven't pre-ordered it yet, the price did go down a little bit.
Yep.
So it was $300, now it's $265. It's probably going to be like the Destroyer box set where it's going to fluctuate and change in price.
Yep.
I don't know what causes any of that, but I'm inclined to pre-order very soon.
Absolutely. I would. If it's $265, I mean, that's like $35-40 worth of savings. So
exactly.
And everybody knows this box set is $100 more expensive than the Destroyer box set. So yeah, you can get all the savings you can get.
That's right.
But I pre-ordered mine. Yeah, I'm very excited for it too. You can bet your bottom dollar we're going to be doing a review here on this channel.
Yes.
We did one for the Destroyer one. We're going to definitely do one for the Creatures box set. But no, I'm with you, man. I'm excited, and I got to admit, that's one of my favorite Kiss albums, Creatures of the Night.
Sure, yeah.
So my Kiss Spotlight this week is actually Psycho Circus.
Okay.
We celebrated a lot of anniversaries in September, the releases of. I think we had Lick It Up, of course, solo albums. That was our last episode.
Crazy Nights.
Crazy Nights was another one. Yeah, that could have been my spotlight, too. Yeah. I was jamming to Crazy Nights recently, too. I think I still have my picture disc LP on the turntable. And actually, I had forgotten that I even had a picture disc LP of that. So I was like, well, I know what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
But no, this week is Psycho Circus, because Psycho Circus was another album that we celebrated the anniversary of. I think the 24th anniversary since the release of Psycho Circus. And that was our first new Kiss album.
True.
And so I decided to listen to that. Usually whenever there's an album anniversary, I like to listen to that album just front to back. It's a good way to just listen to Kiss and listen to Kiss albums in full over and over and over again. And Psycho Circus, for me, even though I know it's a very polarizing Kiss album, just because the fact that it wasn't all originals and it was going to be like a concept album and all this stuff, to me, it is a near flawless record. It is nearly flawless. I understand that Peter Nace could have been on it more and that it wasn't the reunion album that we all wanted. But just in terms of those songs, Psycho Circus, 10 out of 10. Yeah. Within, one of the best Gene songs that I can think of. Total Demon, right? I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll. Yeah. Amazing Paul song. Into the Void, classic Spaceman. We Are One. You Wanted the Best. Raise Your Glasses, I think, is still one of my favorite Kiss songs of all time. Dreamin's a good song. There's a lot of good stuff on that record. And I think it's really just the last couple songs on the record that some people have a little bit of issues with, like myself. I get it. You know, they try to repeat the success of Beth with Finally Found My Way.
Yeah.
Still a good song, but no, I do understand where people are coming from with some of those songs. But just for me, the production, the songs, the songwriting, the performances on that album, it's great. I love it.
It's a great album. I don't listen to that one as much, but every time I do, I kind of have the same reaction where I'm like, man, this album really, song after song, is just so satisfying to listen to.
Yeah, and the production on that record stands out because I think we've talked about several times how the production on Kiss albums don't really stand out that much.
Right.
But Psycho Circus is one that you can't say that.
Oh, yeah.
It
sounds brand new.
Every Kiss, even to this day, it sounds fresh. I was listening to it right before this podcast when I came in. I had it with me. I just didn't show it to you because I didn't want to spoil it. But no, I had it with me. I had my 2 CD. The one with the live stuff.
Yes, from Indianapolis.
From the Market Square Arena where our parents were at.
Right.
Which is crazy. But anyway, so you're spotlighting Creatures.
Yeah.
I'm spotlighting Psycho Circus.
Absolutely.
We'll have to see where we're coming in next time. But anyway, so the point of this episode is to talk about how awesome Louder Than Life Music Festival was.
Yeah.
We went on Saturday night only. I think it's like a 4-day thing.
Yeah, 4 days.
I think it's going on right now as we're recording. There's
correct.
Still bands going. I think who's headlining tonight?
Alice in Chains and Red Hot Chili Peppers, and there's one other band but it's mainly Alice in Chains, and then Red Hot Chili Peppers will be headlining. Of course, Kiss headlined last night. The night before that was Slipknot headlining.
Oh my gosh.
The night before that, the first night was Nine Inch Nails, but we got... we didn't end up buying tickets until 2 days before the show.
This was literally on a whim.
Yeah,
because if you've watched this podcast, I think this is like the 3rd time that we've said, okay,
it's over.
This is the last concert, you know, and then we keep going back. But no, you're right. We were literally like thinking on Tuesday or something like, are we going? Are we not going? We might as well go get them tickets.
Well, I mean, for us, we live in southern Indiana. Of course, this festival is held in Louisville, Kentucky, which is right across the bridge from Indiana.
Yeah.
So it's just over an hour away from where we are.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, are we going to really not go to a Kiss show? If they're coming around on their last tour, when they're coming an hour south.
I can't sleep at
night.
Why
would we not go if we have the opportunity?
Yeah. It makes no sense that we even said that in the first place. But we were kind of thinking, it's a music festival. Mm-hmm. There's going to be tons of bands and tons of people. And, we've seen our fair share of shows. And it's like, no, forget that. We got to go for Kiss. But now, here's the cool thing, though, is because not only was Kiss there, but the other 2 headliners were Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie. And that, for us, was like a childhood dream come true. Yeah. It really was.
Yes.
I've never seen Alice Cooper. Always wanted to. Never seen Rob Zombie. Always wanted to.
Exactly.
And Kiss, I'll always want to see Kiss. So we got 3 of the best as far as live shows go.
Pretty much. Yeah.
In one night.
Yeah.
But so that was awesome. But let's talk about. I guess we'll start with Alice a little bit since we only saw I think half of his set.
Yeah, we got in a bit late.
We did get a little bit late. We had a fun time finding parking, but that's what happens when you're at a festival showing up on day 3 out of 4.
Right, we're not
when things are like already happening.
I've only been to one other proper music festival apart from this. But yeah, we rode in right as Chevelle was finishing up their set. Alice was hitting the stage as we were going to the box office to get our wristbands.
Yeah.
So we missed one of our key songs that we wanted to hear from Alice, which is Feed My Frankenstein, because I'm pretty sure he opened the show with it.
Yeah.
And that song for us is special just because of Wayne's World, and we really wanted to see it. But
we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Which is phenomenal. But so, we walk into the crowd, and Alice is hitting the stage, and the first impression was just that he looked awesome.
It was exactly what you want. It was exactly
Alice. It just looked like Alice Cooper, and the whole get up. He had a top hat on, this really cool, red velvet, jacket or whatever.
I think we came in on, what was it, Poison?
Yes,
Poison,
we came in on Poison.
If Feed My Frankenstein is my first favorite, I think Poison's my second favorite song of his.
Yeah.
So it was like a perfect way to come in because you've been to one festival, I've never been to any.
Yeah.
I don't really do festivals, so this was my first time. So I was kind of feeling the crowd out, but. To show up on something like Poison was fantastic, and at this point in time, we were still kind of way in the back.
Yeah, it was still daylight.
It was still daylight. People were still kind of hanging out, getting food, getting drinks, and getting set up. And of course, there was already huge crowds up front. But you and I were kind of like, we're just gonna sit back and kind of feel the vibe a little bit. Yeah. And as soon as we saw an opening, we just
we said we're gonna get in there
right up.
We're gonna worm our way through the crowd because that's what you have to do at big concerts like that. If you want to get up close, you got to really shimmy and get through all the people there.
And so I'm trying to figure out what all he played, because I know that obviously we didn't hear it, but he did play, I'm assuming, Feed My Frankenstein.
You know.
I did hear Hey Stupid.
Yeah, Hey Stupid, and then
I'm 18.
I'm 18. He played $1 Billion Babies.
Yep.
School's Out, which is, I think that's probably the last song he played.
School's Out. And didn't he throw in a version of Pink Floyd in there?
He did...
Another Brick in the Wall.
Yeah, Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 or whatever it was.
Did you know that he did that at his live...
Never.
No,
I did not see that. That was a complete surprise to me.
Yeah, so he's
playing... I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, and of course I'm a fan of The Wall, so he threw in some of the We Don't Need No Education towards the end, breaking up School's Out, and I was like, this was just amazing.
It almost felt like how Kiss adds Won't Get Fooled Again and Lick It Up.
Exactly.
It's like a nice homage to another classic group. I mean, I don't know how long Alice has been doing that, if that's a part of his School's Out routine, just as long as Kiss has been doing it with Lick It Up.
Yeah, I don't know.
But either way, it was new to us. It was cool. The whole crowd seemed to be into it.
Yeah.
And we were all singing.
Well, School's Out would have came out before.
Yeah, School's Out definitely came out before Pink Floyd. Right. But I'm just talking about, like,
after,
as far as, his live. How long has he been doing it live? 5 years, 10 years?
And his...
5 minutes, 5 months? I don't know.
Oh, see, and I almost forgot how much he was known for his theatrics. I mean, he was changing outfits about every song. He had some sort of theme for every song.
There was a pirate outfit. He had a rapier. And
doing
that. It was dope.
And at the very end, he had like a samurai sword. He was in a straitjacket. I mean, I really kind of forgot. And he had, a bunch of stage props and all this stuff. I was like, wow, I forgot. We're going to see Alice Cooper, but I forgot who Alice Cooper was and what he did.
He's known for the...
He's the original shock rock guy.
Yeah, if Kiss is known for their theatrics, Alice is known for his theater, and he brought it all.
Oh yeah,
he had like a castle set.
Yes, and very cool.
It was almost like a play at one point where he was holding the baby. And
yes,
I'm thinking, what's he gonna do? And he drops the baby and grabs the cleaver and goes to kill the baby.
Yeah,
and then the lady, I think it was his wife actually. Yeah, ended up being his wife. But anyway, so she's playing the part of the mom or whatever, and she drags him away, and they end up hanging, or no, they ended up decapitating Alice Cooper.
Guillotine for
and
Alice.
That was something I always knew that Alice. That was always Alice's
That's his big thing. It was controversial.
That was Kiss's, spitting blood. Alice would chop his own head off.
Yeah.
And you have the doll or the
dummy head.
The dummy head of Alice just dripping blood. And to see it live was freaking awesome.
It was, it was really a moment. I kind of feel bad because beforehand I was like, I don't really have to see Cooper. I really want to go see Rob Zombie because I'm a big John 5 fan and of course Kiss. But I kind of wish we had gone just a little bit sooner so we could have seen his full set.
I was pushing for Cooper because I wanted to see Cooper.
Well, he's the man. Absolutely.
And yeah, we almost, I'm glad that we saw what we saw because he put on a great show.
Absolutely.
And Bisto Blanco was in his
bass.
band.
Yes.
And he was at one of the Kiss Expos playing.
Yep, he was he and his band with Alice Cooper's daughter.
Yeah.
And the band called Bisto Blanco, they played a show at one of the Indianapolis Kiss Expos a handful of years ago, which, they announced Alice was naming all the band members' names. That's where I recognized the bass player who was Bisto Blanco, and as soon as we said his name, we go, hey, we've seen him before.
Oh, duh.
So there's another Kiss connection that,
Yep.
Sort of was really cool to be there for.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And so after, of course, Alice is on one stage, and as soon as his set's done,
right,
Rob Zombie
is going to the stage
on stage right.
Yeah, adjacent to it.
And Rob Zombie for us is one of those must-see acts.
Yes.
Because we've been listening to Hellbilly Deluxe since day one, basically, since it came out.
Right.
You were 1, I was 3.
Yes.
That's been a part of our musical lives forever.
I think that and Psycho Circus are the first 2 album covers that I remember seeing in my life. So there is a special place that album, holds.
Absolutely.
And even Rob Zombie's movies, we grew up watching a couple of his movies, and we saw the Halloween remake when it came out in theaters.
Yeah, I didn't
he's
get
his own
to,
thing.
but
you didn't get to.
I didn't get to, but but he did open that movie with God of Thunder.
Yes, with the kid wearing the Kiss t-shirt,
with Michael Myers wearing the Kiss Destroyer t-shirt.
That's right.
Rob Zombie knows how to represent.
He's a Kiss fan, man.
John 5.
John 5's a huge Kiss fan, and it was.
But what did Rob open with? Do you remember? Was it? It wasn't Super Beast, was it?
No, he opened with a song from his latest record. I'd have to pull up his album.
Yeah.
It's the first song off of Zombie's latest album that he opened with. And then he went into Super Beast after that.
Super Beast, but he played Super Beast, Living Dead Girl.
Yes.
Scum of the Earth.
Scum of the Earth.
Dead City Radio.
Yes.
Of course, Dracula was like the last song. That was amazing.
He played Dracula, which is good. He played
House
of a Thousand Corpses, More Human Than Human.
Thunder
Kiss 65 he played, which was
from the White Zombie days, yeah.
That was an epic
by the way, I understand right now we sound like a bunch of fanboys out here, but you have to understand, we're from the Guitar Hero era, okay? We grew up playing songs like School's Out on Guitar Hero,
and Thunder
Kiss 65 on Guitar Hero, pretending to be those guys in our living room, okay?
Yeah.
So for us to be able to actually see these guys live for us was a dream come true.
Yes.
So we were having, at this point, the most incredible time. But one thing I will say, just to kind of get this out there, talk about the experience, was even though you and I were having a blast, the energy of the crowd was nowhere near where I thought it would be.
Nowhere near
for a festival.
Yeah. Same.
There were times where the song would end, and it would take about not 3 seconds, but
almost
like
dead silence.
A second or two for the crowd to even react, which was kind of odd because obviously as soon as the song ends, that's your cue to go ballistic.
Right.
But it just, I wasn't sure. I was like, are these people tired? It's not even that hot. What's going on? Have you guys been here for 3 days and you're just getting tired?
Right.
You know, I wasn't sure what was going on, but even for Alice, there wasn't really this huge, vocal reaction, if you will, in terms
apart
of
from the first 20 rows, but everything beyond that, people are just kind of chilling out.
Now, I will say that there was a large crowd that did come for Alice because as soon as his set ended, there were people
flooding out.
We went from 50th row to 15th row?
Yeah.
We got up there. Like, we were in the shit. Like, we got right up in there.
Well, the thing about, this part is because we were sort of, as soon as we got in, we're plotting how we're going to get closer to the stage, how we're going to get through all these people. So we said, okay, Alice is going on the same stage that Kiss is, but in between, Alice and Kiss is going to be Rob Zombie on the other stage. So after Alice finishes his set, we're saying, okay, we're going to stay over on this side of the stage, closer to where Alice just finished up, because Rob's going over here. So that by the time Rob finishes, we're already going to be where we are for Kiss, and we're going to be as close as we can get.
Yeah.
And I wish we could have gotten closer, but we got about somewhere equivalent to 15th row, if you're at a standard amphitheater or something like that.
Yeah.
Which for us was perfectly fine.
That was better. I mean, we bought tickets almost the day before.
Yeah.
And just kind of showed up willy-nilly and was like, hey, we're just here now.
Yeah.
So to get 15th row for us, I mean, was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But again, just to kind of, it was odd because you're thinking, it's going to be a festival. Mm-hmm. It's going to be all this craziness going on.
Right.
And there really wasn't, this amazing amount of energy for both sets. Again.
And I expected
there was a large crowd for Alice Cooper because there were a lot of people that left.
Yeah. For
us to go from, quote unquote 50th row to 15th row, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were people, the Cooper family was out and about.
Yeah, they loved it.
But.
Well, they were moving over to Rob's stage, too.
But as soon as Rob's set ended.
Yeah.
And the hum started.
It was on.
All the crazies came out.
Yes, that's true.
I'm talking people, what? Just everybody just woke up.
Yes.
Hands in the sky.
Yes.
And all hell broke loose. It was pandemonium from the beginning of Kiss's set
to the
end of Kiss's set.
Pretty much.
And you and I have seen 14 shows.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah.
And we can just go ahead and say that for the majority of the time, the crowd really is mellow.
Kind of mellow.
It's a lot of arms folded,
kind of nodding,
sips of your water, maybe some foot tapping, and a lot of sitting down, bathroom breaks, and of course just cell phones the whole time.
Yeah.
Man.
This show is completely different from every other Kiss show.
There were a lot of cameras, of course, on Detroit Rock City, the opener.
Oh, yeah.
But after that, it was a straight up rock and roll show.
It was just a live rock and roll show.
And nobody was quiet for Kiss.
No.
And it was so odd.
Yeah.
Because, again, I'm thinking, man, I hope people are a little bit more excited for Kiss, because you and I, we always, no matter what, give it up.
Yeah.
Nobody goes harder than us. Nobody's fist bumping more. Nobody's singing more.
Yeah.
Nobody's headbanging more air guitar than you and I.
Yeah.
Dude, at this show, we were having a hard time keeping up.
Exactly.
And I was not used to it.
I was kind of concerned because I was like, if they're kind of reacting this way to, if if they're reacting this way to Rob Zombie's set, I expected his set to be the most high energy. I expected people to go absolutely berserk for, and you know, in the first 10 rows, maybe first 5 to 10 rows, right in front of the stage, there was some action.
Yeah.
Beyond that, it was just kind of. It almost seemed like people. I'm not saying anything bad about Rob Zombie.
No,
This is just how we.
This is your observation. This is your observation.
It just seemed like people were kind of almost waiting it out for the headliner.
Yes, it really did seem that way.
I cannot tell you how much it blew my mind to see quote unquote the general public react to our band this way. I have never seen this many people. By the way, this is the biggest show I've ever attended.
This was 70,000 people.
About 70,000 people at this festival.
And we somehow got 15th row.
It was huge, but I have never seen at any other KISS shows. And it was probably because it was a festival. There's probably a lot of younger people there, but everyone was so very much into KISS.
Everybody was at 11.
And I could not believe looking around and seeing just regular people. I mean, there were a lot of KISS shirts. We knew KISS Army was represented.
They were there.
But there were just as many people who I don't know, maybe you've never seen them live before.
Or were just fans of rock and roll.
Or were just fans of rock and roll who were seriously into what was going on.
They were all about it.
To me, that meant, it just meant so much to me to
see
exciting. Everyone else getting out of what I get out of this. And what I have been for my whole life.
Yeah.
Seeing that many people, seeing all the young people. You know, there were plenty of older people too, but it was mostly a younger, kind of hip crowd. I mean, it's a music festival.
I was surprised because, usually when we go to KISS shows, we're usually the youngest people in sight. You look around and it's usually people who are, maybe our dad's age or whatever,
right?
Who were fans when KISS was actually a new and up and coming and mainstream successful band. Mm-hmm. But at this show, you're right. Looking around, it was a lot of people our age and maybe a little younger, maybe a little older.
Yeah, there were kids there,
but. You're right. That is kind of odd because we're so used to the diehards coming out to shows.
Yeah,
these were people that you're right. Probably either haven't seen KISS or are really excited to see what they're about.
Everyone was singing the lyrics to the songs. I'm like, how many people out there are closet KISS fans that don't want to admit it? I mean, seriously, I'm looking around going, this many people?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. And
without KISS t-shirts on, singing all the lyrics?
And they do a really good job. And this is why KISS plays the sets that they do, plays the songs that they do. Obviously, they don't really do a whole lot of changing around their set.
Yeah.
And they're not just going to put the most random, B-side, the most obscure song in the set list. And it's because they want to make sure that every crowd, no matter who it is or what age they are, they can sing those songs.
They know Lick It Up.
And, it's like, even if these people weren't, KISS fans, it's like they knew the songs because you hear them on the radio. Mm-hmm. They're top 5, top 10 on Spotify, wherever it is. You can find them on YouTube music videos. But it was incredible to see the KISS Army and just everybody out in full force. Well, because I was wondering, I was like, look, if nobody's getting this excited for Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie, who, let's face it, are just like KISS, they're known for being the best of the best when it comes to the live act.
But people are particularly snobby about KISS.
But everybody always wants to snob KISS, or at least, put a higher bar for KISS to have to reach.
Well, we even had a brief discussion before the show, and we said, what if people boo KISS? Because you think about how snobby people are. People go into a music festival where they're all going to see their favorite bands who aren't KISS.
Yeah.
And they're going to, some people are probably saying, Alice Cooper buries KISS, or
or KISS stole from Alice Cooper.
Or Rob Zombie's going to bury
Rob
KISS.
Zombie's a better KISS.
But no, it seemed like, again, I cannot believe how much people were into this band.
Yeah.
That we've been, I'm looking around going, I've never seen this many people who didn't seem like they were as big a KISS fan as us, who were seriously enjoying it.
Yeah, and what brought that on, the whole, what if KISS got booed, is because I was talking about how every time KISS is announced as a headliner at one of these major festivals, which, let's face it, KISS is always going to be headlining, but every time I see that KISS is headlining and they post those graphics of the lineups, I see so many comments where it's like, oh, why is KISS headlining? Why are they always headlining? They suck. Or, why are they always around? They're too old. Or
they don't deserve
money
that
hungry.
slot.
They're not real music and they're not a real band. And so I'm wondering, man, it must be those people don't even go to these shows because because nobody there had those thoughts at all.
Nope.
But I just got to thinking, like, man, what if there was to come a time where all these music snobs, were at this show and they thought it'd be kind of funny just to boo KISS, what would happen?
Yeah.
But of course, again, it was the exact opposite last night where everybody was at an 11.
Yeah.
And
it was packed. I've been to a couple shows where it was like airtight packed, but by the middle of Kiss's set, we were like smashed into each other. Like it was, I mean, people were really surging towards, because everyone wanted to get so close.
Everybody wanted to get close, and it was to the point where the audience was like an ocean.
Yeah,
like, there were times where you were being like,
ebbed and
you were just it was move or be moved, right? It was like you're moving left, you're moving right.
Yeah,
and you had to be really careful. And it got to the point where there were people crowd surfing, which it sounds fun when you watch it on a video on YouTube or when you see it in a movie. But dude, there were people legitimately like crowd surfing.
Oh yeah,
and they were
from the beginning to the end of the show.
Yeah,
for the entire Kiss's set,
going from the back all the way to the front. And it almost
we carried in there.
And it almost felt like a lot of the show was us looking over our shoulders, trying to get person from A to B. And I mean, it got to the point where like it was too much. It was almost too much.
That's kind of an interesting phenomenon, because for me it was like half really annoying and half really fun.
Yes,
it
was.
I mean, part of it took away from the show because you end up getting paranoid because you are looking over your shoulder because there's heavy humans.
Yeah. You have 200
being
pounds.
Carried by other people.
Yeah, you have 2 people carrying 200
and
pounds.
And they're coming to you, and you don't have a choice whether they're either going to fall on you or you can help push them to the people in front of you. Again, half annoying, but half a lot of fun. And I'm pretty sure I dislocated my shoulder twice during this trying, because I'm not built like that. I can't do that. Okay, and there were people who were too big to fly.
Yeah.
But not too big to fall, because we saw people drop.
This one guy, when I say he got dropped on his neck, but he sprung right back up and goes,
back up.
Give me up.
He was on something, he was a big dude. He kind of had a beard. He turned to me and this one guy and said, "I want to go back up," and I said, "I'm not strong enough." So he gets in front of Xander and talks to this other guy with a beard and says, "I want to go back up." And we said, okay. So about 4 of us, it was only about 4 of us. I grabbed a leg, Xander grabbed a leg, 2 other guys took this big dude.
And just
we got him up there, and he made his way to the front. But
somehow.
It was like that the whole show. I've never been to a show where people are flying everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And it was really...
At a Kiss show.
It was really funny, because there was a guy in front of us who was pretty tall. And... he didn't get the memo that this person's coming in hot. So this person, like, I get kicked in the back of the head, and I'm like, oh, there's somebody's Nike. And so I look back, I take this person, and what you do, you just throw him. But the guy in front of us didn't get the memo. I must have not have warned him, whatever.
Oh, that happened to me.
This guy got folded in half. This person fell on his neck.
It shouldn't be allowed. I'm not gonna lie.
I was surprised.
It is dangerous how. I mean, the same thing happened to me where, and this was the first time that it must have been during Detroit Rock City. I don't know if it was Detroit Rock City or War Machine or so. It was in the beginning of the set where the first. Because I didn't even think about... I didn't think that would happen at the show.
No.
Never did it occur to me that a human is going to be on top of me at any point. So what you said about that guy getting a person thrown on, it's like that happened to me, where my neck just got crushed and no one tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, human coming on you next." And so by that point it's too late and you're just panicking, like, get this person, just push him off. And I'm like, I'm 25, but I felt too old for that. I'm like, I have a job. Like, I got a car. I gotta go to work.
I gotta pay bills. Like,
I can't
be hoisting people up like this.
I'm young, but like, I don't
young.
I was like, I don't know about that.
And the thing was, I noticed that most people were trying to be cool about it, and as soon as they get up there, they got their phones out and they're taking selfie videos. I was
gonna say something
like,
about that.
Yeah, I'm up here, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I have something to say about that.
Okay.
I have something to say about that. I'm glad you brought that up, because I probably would have forgot. There were like half the people who were crowd surfing were
just doing it
either recording themselves or live streaming or doing something. But now, and while that seems really obnoxious,
okay,
to me that almost captures a real live rock and roll moment in the modern age. Like, if someone thinks that Kiss is cool enough to where they want to crowd surf and like flex and like show that off, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
To think that Kiss is that cool to them, or that other people might find that interesting, is like, yeah, that seems like really kind of like really Gen Z, typical young person. They're always having their phones out. But like, if they think it's cool enough, a band.
Here's the thing, though.
That's 50 years old.
Here's the thing, though. Anybody that was at a Kiss show in the 70s would have also recorded that show if they had a cell phone. Yeah. Anybody crowd surfing at any show in the 70s would have done the exact same thing. It's what humans do.
Yes.
It's just a part of it.
Right.
But of course that wasn't possible back then. I mean, people were recording Kiss shows back then. People are recording Kiss shows now. It's just a little easier to do now.
It's just easier.
But the same, sort of want is there. It's the same thing.
But to see some like 20-year-old guy with live streaming, thinking like someone else is going to look, oh, he's at a Kiss show. That's really cool.
Yeah, he thinks he's cool. Crowds are going to Kiss show with Kiss in the background.
I'm like, again, that seems kind of obnoxious, but at the same time, it's like if it just makes me feel good about Kiss.
Sure, I mean, and Kiss was the coolest band last night.
Yeah, and everything about the show itself was slightly condensed.
Oh, it was, and we're going to get to all this
from the End of the Road tour. By the way, they did have the big inflatable statues carried over from Europe or Australia, which we didn't get to see here in the States.
No,
they because they changed a few things.
We saw the cats in Dayton.
In Dayton. So when they came back to us in West Palm Beach, and they had the big inflatable, and they looked really legit. They looked like stone statues, but they were just blow up, things.
But it was awesome.
But they were huge
because it makes the stage. Again, at Kiss, we've seen every iteration of this stage.
Yes.
And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. They keep finding ways to just make it bigger.
Now, they didn't have the cats this time.
They didn't?
No.
Oh, you're right. They didn't. They
didn't have the cats, so I'm glad we really did get to see that show in Dayton, because we did. It's weird how this tour, which has been going on for 4 years now, right?
3.5, almost 4.
Almost 4 years. It's changed, I think it's changed pretty considerably.
Yeah, it has.
I mean, like, even with the stuff they're doing on stage.
Yeah.
Because, Tommy and Paul, this was one of the coolest moments of the night, where they were trading licks back and forth. I think they were doing the Whole Lotta Love solo from Led Zeppelin. They were trading licks from that, and then they did this dual guitar solo.
Guitar battle.
That blew my... Yeah, it was like a
guitar battle.
A guitar face-off thing.
Right at the end of Dr. Love.
Yes. And we were just... I mean, like, to me it seemed like Kiss and Gene and Paul mostly are just loosening up. And they're just having fun. It's not so strict and tight and everything like that.
Some of the shows we've seen on this tour, you could tell were a little bit more structured like that.
Yeah.
But because of the way the crowd was last night, it just seemed like Kiss was like, hey, you know what? They're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun.
Yes.
And it really was like they were feeding off us and we were feeding off them.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned that guitar battle at the end of Dr. Love. Awesome. Also, right after that, after Tommy and Paul were trading licks back and forth, Gene in the microphone said, Paul Stanley, Tommy Thayer, come on! And everybody cheered for him.
Yes.
And then Gene proceeds to do a little bit of call and response. He's like, yeah. I said, yeah. And he does a little bit of banter with the crowd, which Gene never does.
This was the most Gene has
spoke
ever...
to the crowd.
Yes. Most Gene has ever spoken to a crowd at any of the shows that we've seen. And it was noticeable for how much he spoke to the crowd. And had an it just seemed like Gene and Paul really are just loosening up, and it's the last show, and there was something about last night that just felt special.
It was. I
hope no one thinks we're BSing you, because we're talking about how everyone was quiet during Cooper and Zombie, but Kiss was pandemonium. That is the way it was, and if any of you were there, I know you can attest to it, and we have footage to prove it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and we were like making sure this was going to be a good show, because we couldn't wait to see Kiss. But when you're going up against these two other acts, you want to make sure that Kiss is bringing heat, and they brought the heat. And yeah, you're right. They did loosen up a lot, given the fact that it was a condensed set, because we noticed that Rob's set...
About an hour.
About an hour.
Very tight set.
Very tight set, very short, just boom, boom, boom. And Paul himself even said, after like the first song or two, he says, not a lot of time to talk, but plenty of time to rock. Yeah. So here we go. It was just boom, boom, boom.
Oh, yeah.
And
it felt like it, like... I've never seen Iron Maiden, but everyone who I know has been to a Maiden show. They said it's just one song after another, non-stop, high energy, just go, go, go. That's how this felt.
Whereas usually Kiss, Paul will usually, because he's the ultimate hype man, he'll do a lot of call and response with the crowd, a lot of crowd building. I mean, he still did a little bit of the, people over here, let me hear you, but he didn't do?
What?
He didn't divide the crowd.
No, he didn't do any of that.
He didn't do any of that and make this whole thing drawn out. It was literally just song after song after song.
Yeah.
but they had to remove some songs.
Yes, they did. They had to.
And this is probably going to be the most interesting part of this episode, because we're used to seeing Kiss play a full 22 song set list. Mm-hmm. They only played maybe 16 or 17.
It felt like a full-blown Kiss show.
It still felt like a full-blown Kiss show.
Yeah, maybe it's because we were there for a few hours, So
yeah, we were there for a few hours, but I mean, usually, sometimes a show will pass by really quickly, and you're like, oh man, it just started.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, oh man, when are these guys going to get off stage?
Yeah.
But with this Kiss show, yeah, even though it was a slightly condensed show, it still felt like a full Kiss show.
Yes.
But let's talk about some of the songs that they removed from the set list, because the one that I noticed first that they immediately took away that surprised me the most was Deuce. They did not play Deuce last night, and I think I'll have to double check this, but out of all the shows we've seen over the years, the past almost 20 years of us seeing Kiss, they've never not played Deuce.
I'm curious if there's anyone watching, if there's any older fans or any fans who have seen more shows than us. Have you ever seen a Kiss show where Kiss didn't play Deuce? They've always played it.
I'm sure there have been shows where they haven't played it, but it's one of those songs like Love Gun, like Black Diamond.
It's Cold Gin.
It's going to be there.
Yeah, Deuce is always there.
And it's always the second or third song. Usually it'll fluctuate between second or third. It's always in the beginning.
Second, yeah.
At least it has been in the last several tours.
Yeah, it's usually
a lot of the tours we've seen, it's been early in the set, and they did not play it at all, which means there was no Slay.
You know what? I didn't even notice that until you just said it.
Right in that weird, it's the only Kiss show I've ever seen where they didn't do
the iconic
back and forth Sway. They took out Deuce.
Yeah.
They took out Say Yeah.
Yeah.
That one I think is a little bit more understandable, considering that it is the newest one of the bunch.
Right.
But I still kind of wanted to hear it. I'll be honest. I think that with that crowd and the way that crowd was acting, they probably would have been really receptive of that song.
Yeah, I was gonna say while we're big fans of Sonic Boom and we love to wave the flag for the current lineup, I do agree. I was gonna say I kind of agree that they had to have taken that out. But if they would have played it, I feel like this would have been the best show to do it at, because that one typically does get a lot less reaction from the crowd. Maybe people don't know it, or they just don't care for the new lineup or whatever. But I feel like this crowd would have totally dug it.
I think so too.
But I just don't know why they don't sub it for Modern Day Delilah or Hallelujah. I just don't get it.
At this point, I would like to see either one of those more than Say Yeah, because even though I'm glad to see Say Yeah come in, it's been back in the set since I think 2017. I think we saw them on the Kiss. We saw them on the Kiss World Tour with Creatures outfits.
Did they
played
Say Yeah?
and they played Say Yeah there.
Wow.
And then we saw them on the first night, or the first show in Louisville on the road tour, and they played Say Yeah, and it's been in the set ever since. So I think it'd be cool to see them switch out one of those songs. But anyway, it did make sense that one would be one of the ones that were dropped from this set. So what were the other ones that were dropped? I know.
Let Me Go Rock and Roll had been out of the set for a little bit. But
it's come and gone.
It's come and
gone. That one was not played.
Beth was not in the set.
That was interesting.
I was expecting Beth.
I kind of was too, because at big festivals, everybody knows Beth.
Yeah. I figured
everybody knows Beth, and even though it is slower, it kind of stops the show.
Yeah,
it's almost the best time to stop the show, because it's at the end.
Yeah,
I think the way they do it now is very grandiose with the piano. And at one time, I think it was on the Freedom to Rock tour, I think the band came out and stood by the piano with him or something.
Yes, at the very end.
Or did they do an acoustic version of that tour?
On which tour?
Freedom to Rock tour.
Oh no, they did acoustic version on Freedom to Rock, which was amazing.
Yeah,
sounded fantastic.
They've done really well at handling Beth live.
Yes.
Post Peter Criss. I think Eric Singer, they've been able to make that song work really well in the set. But no, it was gone after
just took it out.
In the set, it was just 2 encores as opposed to the usual 3.
Yes, there's 2
They
encores.
always seem to do 3 encores. On this tour, it's either been Beth, Crazy Nights and Rock and Roll All Night, or Beth, Do You Love Me and Rock and Roll All Night. And last night it was just Do You Love Me and Rock and Roll All Night.
Yes.
And that was it. So Beth wasn't even in the set list. I'm trying to think if there was any other songs that might have been dropped. But again, it still felt like a perfect set. They're still breaking up Psycho Circus and 100,000 Years, which I don't understand that, because they did that when we saw them in Tinley Park.
Not in Tinley Park. That was we first saw that in Chicago.
That's Tinley Park.
Oh.
Tinley Park, Chicago, Illinois.
We've seen him too many times.
Too many times to count.
I thought Tinley Park was Ohio.
No, that's Cincinnati and Dayton. But yeah, no, you're right.
So we saw it at Tinley Park. Gotcha.
Yeah. So at Tinley Park, they broke up Psycho Circus and 100,000
Yeah, that
Years.
really threw me off because we had just seen him on. Obviously, we had seen him before that on a tour. We saw
that was our
full.
That was our fifth.
Yeah, I would say
or fourth show.
Well, we'd seen him at least a few times, but they had played Psycho Circus in its entirety.
Yes.
Which I love the back half of that song. So having that gone is, I get over it when I'm there.
Yeah,
and of course,
me too.
The second half of 100,000 Years is like one of my all-time favorite Kiss songs. So hearing any part of that, but I did kind of miss hearing that song in its entirety, just because that's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, well, both of those songs are really good in their full versions, and I'm pretty sure that in the beginning of this tour we saw 100,000 Years
in its entirety.
That was they played that at the first. We seen two shows in Louisville.
And they did the drum solo.
In the first show in Louisville, they played that in its entirety.
And they did the drum solo live style.
Yep.
Breaking it up with 100,000 Years, but they played the full song. And
speaking of that, Eric's solo last night was awesome.
Oh my gosh,
because
Eric is the best.
Alice Cooper's drummer played a fantastic drum solo.
He had a good drum solo. Yes.
Because I'm a drummer, so I'm always focused on. I think the drummer is oftentimes the most interesting person.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're
even for me as a guitar player,
yeah,
the drummer is always the most enjoyable part of any live concert.
Unless you're a front man like Paul Stanley, Ozzy Osbourne, Alice Cooper, or Rob Zombie, those guys are definitely there's a reason why they're the front man. But my eyes are always laser focused on the drummer.
Yeah.
And Alice Cooper's drummer put on a heck of a performance.
It was awesome.
And even when Alice was introducing his bandmates, he said the greatest drummer in rock and roll. Insert name here, and I'm thinking, well, Eric,
I was gonna say, hey man,
you're the headlining drummer of the headlining band, so it's like, what are you gonna do? And because again, he's played a very similar drum solo over the course of this tour, and it was the same last night.
Yeah.
Except it was beefed up.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I wanted.
Everything
he was doing some double kick patterns that was so fresh to hear. It was like, da-da-da-doom, da-da-da-doom, da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't know. Whatever it was just cool to hear him do some of these double bass
Everything about
licks.
this show was a little beefed up.
Everything about the show was beefed
up. Well, actually, I was going to say Tommy, but even the last show we saw at Dayton, Tommy and Eric both seemed like they were just not overdoing it, but they were just going twice as hard.
Yeah.
I mean, they were playing their absolute hearts out, and especially last night, all four of them just seemed like they were having so much fun.
Yeah.
Tommy, I think there may have been slightly a bit of technical difficulty during Tommy's solo. I don't know if you remember it after Cold Gin.
Okay.
It seemed like the audio went out a little bit at one part, but as soon as the audio came back in, Tommy was he was doing licks I've never seen Tommy do. Like,
Dayton was the same way. I was like,
yes. It's like straying out of just the standard pentatonic blues licks. He was like borderline shredding on a couple of his solos, and I was like, Tommy Thayer.
Everybody always says that Tommy just kind of, and he does, he's a spaceman. He has to play that role, so he will do a lot of the same style of stuff that Ace did.
Right.
But on these last few shows we've seen, man, he just says, forget that, I'm doing my own thing, I'm my own person.
He
just
goes.
He's got that flying V, it looks amazing.
His guitars on this tour, all of their instruments.
Everybody's instruments.
Paul has the greatest guitars he has ever used on tour. Tommy has the greatest guitars any Kiss guitarist has ever used.
Eric's drum kit.
Yeah, Eric's fantastic. But Gene's got that solid gold axe bass.
Yes.
Just seeing their instruments, because I like guitars and all that stuff, but just even looking at them, I'm like, I want to look at them forever, because we were close enough to where, if we could see through the crowd, which we could at points, we could see them clearly, and they just looked. I mean, I never get tired of just looking at them. I know that sounds stupid,
right?
But I never get tired of looking at them and their freaking outfits.
They look so good.
And their guitars. I mean, it's just... Everything about it is so Kiss.
They look so good.
They look amazing.
When the curtain drops, I just can't help but think, man, they look awesome every single time.
And the fact that there's as many people complaining about this band who will never, ever get to experience this live because of their own issues.
Yeah.
Who will never just go to a modern day current lineup Kiss show.
Oh my gosh.
If they're announcing these mysterious 100
Yeah,
tour dates that Gene's talking about, which we don't know,
He could just be talking out his ass.
It could have been just making that up, but if we get these mysterious 100 shows added to it, we'll be... And I'm not even going to lie to ourselves anymore.
No, if they're coming back, we're going.
I will... I mean... Money's whatever. It's gonna be.
If we're broke, we're broke.
And as I'll say, last night, because it was the last. I mean, it was maybe our last Kiss show, but that was the most fun I've ever had. And because of that, I'm thinking, you know what? I will go see them no matter what.
Yeah.
There's nothing anyone can say to make me not want to go see this band.
Even if I'm in the back paying $65, I'm in the lawn up against the fence.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as I can see that screen. I can see their face. I can hear that music.
Yes.
I'll be fine.
And they just proved that to about 70,000 people last night in Louisville.
70,000 people.
I mean, like, last night I felt really... I just felt proud of this band.
I felt proud. It was a proud moment for the Kiss Army last night. It really was.
I mean, I'm just thinking, like, this band is old. This band has been around for almost 50 years. And there's young people coming out and just swarms of people, you know, wanting to film it, wanting to live stream and show all their friends. All these people going nuts, singing the lyrics. I'm like...
There were tons of makeup, costumes.
Like, every time we see them, it never is lost on me how, you know, back in the day, you could have never have predicted that a band like this could have pulled this
would
off.
Stand the test of time and still be the greatest.
I mean,
they're headliners forever.
Yes.
They are. It's their spot.
Until the end, yeah.
No other band is going to take... Nobody's going to go on after
It's
Kiss.
not even a question.
That's been proven. Every time it happens, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Even
Kiss is forever. And make no mistake about it, Jeb and I had this conversation when we bought the tickets. We said, look, we're going to be laser focused, making sure that Kiss is putting on the performance that we want to see. Because they always had this mentality of, we play every show like it's the last. Yeah. We pretend every night is the Garden. And they're always so arrogant in their interviews. And they have their script that they just read off every time they go on tour. We're the biggest. We're the baddest. We're going to give you value for the buck. You know, these popcorn fart bands. And they say the same thing, and they have for years. So I was like, look, okay, you know what?
They're going to put their money where their mouth is.
They're up against Alice Cooper, who predates them.
Yeah.
And they're going to be up against Rob Zombie,
who came after and
has about 20 years, 30 years of age underneath them. You know, has about 20, 30 years more energy. You know what I mean? You got John 5.
Still hardcore fans.
And it's like, we're going to see just how well Kiss is going to hold up. And
can they compete with these bands?
And I said, if it's not just as good or better than the last show we saw, which was Dayton, then it's not good enough.
Yeah.
And let me tell you right now, it was good enough, if not better than Dayton. They brought the heat
in every way.
And this wasn't the only shows that we've seen this week, because tell us how this all started.
Yes. Now, it was September 15th. I happened to be in downtown Louisville in Kentucky. I walk out of a record store and I see a couple, you know, there's a bunch of posters posted on the outside, you know, window to where everyone can see who's walking by. So I walk by and I see Jack White's name on a poster. Of course, I'm a huge Jack White fan. I've mentioned him on the show before because I saw him in April in Detroit. And he's, you know, I said, oh, he must be playing, you know, maybe I should go see him. He was playing that night that I was in Louisville, like 2.5 hours after that point that I had just noticed. So me and my friend said, let's just get tickets and go. But also, next to that poster, of course, was the Louder Than Life. Because it's two festivals. The festival I saw Jack White at was called Bourbon and Beyond. But right next to that was Louder Than Life, which was taking place right after it. And so, you know, I went and saw... and that was actually the first festival I went to, was on the 15th, was Jack White. Who I saw on the second time of this tour, which was absolutely phenomenal. I think the only bands I've seen this year are Kiss and Jack White twice.
Because we've seen both bands twice.
Yes.
So Jack White, then Kiss, then Jack White, then
I did
Kiss.
see another show. It was a smaller show, a band that I wasn't too keen on. But
okay.
Well, I mean, not that I wasn't into it, but it was kind of a last minute thing. Is when I went and saw Little Feat. I don't know if I mentioned that on the show or not.
No, you didn't, but yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I was gonna say, you know, went to see Jack White. It was actually the same stage that Kiss played on last night. It's like literally the same stage. Two totally completely different things. I mean, that Kiss show was just the whole energy and everything was just amped up to 11. And
it was the best.
I mean, I've been to metal shows and stuff like that.
I've seen Slipknot.
Yes.
I've seen Metallica.
Yeah.
When we were 5, we saw Blues Clues. Nobody was going that crazy like they were last night at freaking Kiss, man.
I was gonna say
it was lit.
I was gonna say I've been to metal shows. I've been to all kinds of shows. And there was something about last night. I don't know if it's just because of people, you know, after COVID, they're just tired and they want to get out.
It could have been everybody's just drunk and nobody cares about Kiss. Let's just party. Fair enough. If that was the case, they would have been at that same level for Alice and Rob.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming Chevelle and some of the other bands. But it was like, as soon as Kiss went on, man, it was like...
It was a moment. It's like people were... It felt like people knew that they were about to witness history.
That's kind
of the vibe it felt like. Okay, everyone... We have to see Kiss now.
Yeah.
everyone gets serious.
And everybody was loving it too. I mean, there was people.
Loved it.
Paul was doing his stage banter before Love Gun, and somebody turned to us and goes, "Oh, I love this guy."
It was a very positive crowd.
I don't think that guy was a huge Kiss fan like us. He just probably knew who Kiss was.
Probably a casual fan.
In the moment, and was like, "I love this guy." He was just into it.
Well, sometimes at shows, people kind of will make little comments and poke fun at the band because they've seen them a million times, and they're that comfortable with it. But everyone there just was really into it, and the way the crowd reacted. By the way, we could hear people talking around us, people who didn't know things.
Yeah, it was very obvious that Jeb and I, not to brag, because there's no reason to brag, but it was clear that we had probably seen, in our area, the most shows. We were more familiar with the structure of the show, what songs we're going to play and when.
Well, we know all the
ins.
We know the stage banter by heart.
We know it. I was saying it at the same time Paul was. Yeah,
I was going to say, we know what they're going to say, how they're going to say it, when they're going to say it.
Yeah.
And now there's people around us going, "Oh, I think they're done. You know, they're not going to play rock and roll all night." Or, "What's that thing over there?" When that's the thing that
play next.
You know, it's like, what the heck's that? And what's that stage doing over there? I heard people
what's that little hoop thingy?
Yeah, like, what song are they done? Or like,
why is that thing coming down from the ceiling? Is it broken?
People, I was gonna say, well, and when Tommy was shooting his rockets, I don't know if you heard, someone off to my left said, I think that malfunctioned when Tommy shoots the rockets at the pods with the UFOs on them, and then they crash, they shut down.
Yeah.
Someone said, I think they're having technical difficulties.
That's how you know Kiss is on a good show.
But I heard them, catch on when he shot the second one, and they went out and they paid attention. They said, "Oh, he's shooting the UFOs out of the sky," and I was like, "You got it."
Now you got it.
But I'm sitting there, I'm grinning because I can hear people around me who don't know Kiss, and I'm like, "Just wait."
Yeah.
Paul's about to fly across the stage and people went crazy for Paul. People really had. People genuinely didn't know that he was going to do that.
No, people were into Paul. Yeah,
people loved it.
Yeah,
but when he flew across the stage, people were like.
They're like, what?
You could tell people were like, why doesn't everyone do this at a rock show?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's probably the coolest thing a rock band to do is actually get closer like that.
One thing I noticed is that nobody utilizes the screen like Kiss does.
Oh, yeah,
for Alice, he had some graphics up behind him.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Rob Zombie had a little bit too.
Oh yeah, he got graphics.
But when Kiss comes on, that screen behind them is just as big a part of the show.
It's huge, yeah.
As they are. The music and the inflatables and everything, it's all part of the show. Kiss utilizes every aspect of the stage. Mm-hmm. They tap into every part of your senses, and they just hammer it in. And even after 50 years, man, they prove that they are the best.
Yeah, and they still had Sammy T. Serpent, and they still had the drum riser with the smoke, Gene's going up with the smoke. They came down from the pods at this festival.
Yeah, I was lucky.
You can imagine that was a moment for me. It was just seeing the shock and awe of people who had never seen Kiss and did not know what they were really going to do. It's kind of like when I saw Alice Cooper.
Yeah,
I didn't know everything about Alice Cooper's set.
No.
But I was like, this is amazing.
When he was topping his head off, I was like, ah!
Yeah,
he's topping his own head off!
I even knew about that, but just seeing, I was like, I'm seeing the legend do the thing.
And the person, yeah.
And when Gene was preparing to do God of Thunder during his bass solo, it was dead silent. It was serious. Mm. When the lights went down, and when Gene had the green light on his face, and when you could hear a pin drop. Like, everyone was, like...
into it.
Everyone was, like, really invested in that. And everyone was like, shh. That was, like, theater to me.
It was.
I mean, which is the whole point.
Yeah.
But, like, just to get that many people to be that quiet and focus in on Gene and watch and just live in that moment and it was just that was a moment for me.
And as soon as he spit the blood, you and I started chanting Gene, Gene, Gene.
It got the whole crowd going.
And everybody in the crowd. We started that chant.
Loud.
It was loud. We started that chant because it was like, how can you not cheer for Gene when Gene's doing the thing, man? It's like
it's Gene,
he's probably done that more times. He's done that dozens upon dozens, hundreds, thousands of times. And it just never gets old for the crowd. I mean, I've seen him breathe fire, spit blood.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen it 14 times. I'll see it 14 more if I have to. I'm telling you, people, if you have not seen them on this tour, you may be too late. And if they add these extra 100 dates, you better be lucky.
Please go
and you better be going. And look, I understand if money is an issue, you can just get the $60 general admission ticket.
Go see him in the lawn.
Go in the lawn. We saw him in the lawn at Cincinnati end of the road tour.
It was great.
And it was amazing.
We had a great time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's when you get to hang back and talk to Kiss friends and party and have
I said,
have fun.
Like I said, Jeb and I were like, look, we're not going to sit here and kiss his ass. We're going to watch and make sure that they are acting like what they say they are.
Yes.
You know, if you're gonna walk or you're gonna talk the talk, you better walk the walk. And Kiss walked the walk that night. I tell you what, like, I mean, Rob Zombie didn't have anything on Kiss. Loved that set.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
He did a great job.
Rob, Alice, nobody
But
had
the energy...
anything. When it came to energy, when it came to pandemonium, when it came to superstardom, when it came to the crowd being invested in those songs. Dude, the crowd, that was the most I had ever heard the crowd sing Rock and Roll All Night.
Yeah, same.
Like, the crowd was like, in the, hey, yeah. And
it was big.
It was big.
It was huge.
When Gene said, everybody put your hands in the air for War Machine.
Everybody put their hands in the air.
Dude,
I mean,
pyro.
Again, at most of the shows that we've seen, at 10 to 15,000 seater, indoors, even the amphitheaters, it's just a lot of people standing around.
A lot of folks are just standing there at Kiss shows now, and they fold their arms.
Yeah, and then you get half the people participating. This show, everyone was like, Gene could do no wrong, and we knew
yeah.
I mean, it was just...
Oh, and they had us in the palm of their hands, too.
Yes.
And we had them in the palm of our hands, too. Because before Love Gun, Paul always says, say my name as loud as you can, and, I'll come out there. We didn't give him the chance to say that, because we were already chanting, we want Paul.
We want Paul! We want Paul! We want Paul!
We got the whole crowd going on that one.
Paul stopped, and he's looking around like, what? He goes... I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. And it was like, that never happens. They always...
Not the shows that we go to.
No, not the shows that we go to. It's always, pretty mellow. Again, we're the only ones that are really trying to, give it up.
We're trying to get them to notice us.
We're trying
from 20 rows back.
Yeah, we're trying to give Kiss what Kiss has given us.
Yeah.
And last night was the perfect give and take. It was just symbiotic. It was amazing. It was rock and roll. It was the most rock and roll show
that was the most
I've ever been to. If I never see another group live again, if I never see another band, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
But we were actually talking about other bands that we saw, because Jack White was the band that you saw that ended up saying, hey, look, we might as well go see Kiss. I saw the poster.
Yeah.
How are we not going to go?
Yeah.
So I think it was the day or two after you saw Jack White, my wife and I went and saw Greta Van Fleet up in Fort Wayne. Nice. And that was an awesome show. Now, she had already seen him, I think, once or twice before already.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been able to see him yet. Because when Greta Van Fleet, when their first EP came out, we were all over it. All of us were.
Oh, yeah.
Because of how great it sounded and how fresh. It was like, oh my gosh, organic music, rock, here we go, let's do it. So to see them kind of, climb their respective ladder, to see them going from, playing their small shows to now, they were playing, that was like a 10, 15,000 amphitheater, or a 10,000, 15,000 stadium they were playing.
That's a big deal.
And, I mean, it was awesome. They put on a great rock show. If anybody's looking for a really, really good rock show in 2022, you have to go see Greta Van Fleet. You will not be disappointed. Yeah. Musically, they were on point. If you listen to a lot of bands, don't translate well live. Some bands sound better in the studio than they do live.
Yeah.
Some bands like Kiss sound better live than they do in the studio. Yeah. There are rare bands like Greta Van Fleet, I think Godsmack's one of them too, where they sound just as good on the record, where it's like perfect consistency.
Right.
That's tough to do.
It is, yeah.
Those guys are super freaking talented. If you haven't heard the latest album, get it. I mean, it's not the heaviest, doesn't need to be. I think you'll love it if you're a fan of classic rock, hard rock. But when my wife and I went and saw Greta Van Fleet, I mean, it was just like, dude.
It's rock and roll.
The crowd at that show, because again, mostly when I go to rock shows, the crowd tends to be a little bit on the... I don't want to say older because they're not old. To me, in my head, old is like 80, 90, crippled, like that. But so it's just, we'll say middle-aged.
Yeah.
Middle-aged folks.
Yeah.
At Greta Van Fleet, I mean, it was mostly 20, 25, mostly college-age people. And it was all young people at this rock show. And most times when you go to a concert, at least when I go to a concert, it's all cameras, right? All cell phones in the air. Kiss shows are notorious because they're all just capturing the show. There were hardly any cameras at this Greta Van Fleet show, which was really surprising considering, again, we're the younger generation.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are obsessed with tech. But I was surprised, other than the first couple of songs, which everybody always gets their... good pictures at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Everybody put their phones away and just watched the show. Watched Greta Van Fleet tear it up.
That's always nice.
And it was really surprising to see because, again, it went against everything that you think about young people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're always the ones that are, we're the ones that are said to be the most disrespectful when it comes to an artist, or when it comes to, having our phones out and trying to live through our phones and our screens. And it was really just kind of odd to look around. And, there was one time where I had my phone out and I was the only one who had my phone out. Oh my God. And I was like, I'm just going to put it up and, and just enjoy the show. I think I only took one picture.
Yeah.
I think I have one picture of Greta Van Fleet because I had my phone up to take a picture, and it was like, oh, I'm not used to this. I'm used to Kiss shows where we all have our cameras out. So I was like, So it was very surprising. There was even, my wife said, because I was wondering, I'm really like uptight when it comes to like parking and getting your seat and getting in line, and I'm very rigid. And so my wife said she was involved in this Facebook group that the Greta Van Fleet fans had organized. Cool. That they would all tell each other where the merch stands are, what they have, and where general admission, because we had general admission tickets on the floor.
Yeah.
And so
that's nice.
We were, I think, about the same distance as we were from Kiss to Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah.
We were close on the floor, but there was only a certain area you could go to get to general admission.
Okay.
And I don't like hearing that. Because that means there's only one place to go out of a 10,000 seater amphitheater, to get your seat. And this Facebook group of Greta Van Fleet fans, Greta Van Fleet fans had organized this Facebook group where they were all communicating, like, if you're general admission, go to this spot. And it was super helpful. And it was, I think my wife saw somebody, she was sitting on the floor at one point before the band started, just to rest her feet a little bit. And there was some girl, maybe like 3 rows up, that was also sitting on the ground that they were waving back and forth to, that they ended up reaching out on Facebook. It just so happened to be that they were, or it was the person's cousin or whatever it was. Sure. But like either way, it was just, I don't know. It was really cool to see.
It is cool
that going to these shows and seeing people genuinely love these bands, whether it's newer artists or older artists. Rock is not dead.
They just love music, man. People are showing up for these bands. It's awesome. Speaking of the phones and stuff, when I saw Jack White back in April of this year, we couldn't have phones. So that was probably...
Talk about that for a minute.
That was literally because... And it couldn't do it at the festival because there's no way to control that.
No.
Absolutely. They just kind of gave up on that. But when I saw him, at little... That was a pretty small show when I saw Jack White the first time in April. It was about... I can't remember. 3,000 to 5,000 people.
Wow.
And it was like in a big
indoor, outdoor
church, basically.
Wow,
is what it is. Cool. And it's at what was it called? It's in Detroit. I can't even remember of it. But it was a pretty small venue. We had the same on the floor general admission, so we got pretty close to see Jack White. But they have to lock your phones up in these little pouches that are locked, and they can only unlock them through their little contraptions. Which was super. I hate. I mean, a part of me was like, okay, great. This is going to be a show where no one's going to have their phones out, and that part of it was nice. But Jack White doesn't like. He doesn't like the cell phones and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say it was nice to look around and see a whole few thousand people
just invested in the show.
Well, and then of course when we saw Rob Zombie last night, he mentioned that. He said,
"Oh yeah."
He said, "Why don't?" For this song, everyone put their phones away and let's have a rock and roll show.
And guess what? They listened.
People were like, okay.
I watched as people stopped their videos and locked their phones and put them up.
Isn't that just better?
And someone just like, click, get the picture, okay, and then put it up. But like, they listened though, and I forget what song it was for.
I can't remember.
But either way, he did say that. He said for 1 second, everybody put your phones down, and let this be a real rock show. Yeah. Are you ready for a real rock show? And we said,
I think that was when he played Thunder Kid 65.
It might have been because he said, everybody jump. And everybody started jumping.
Yeah.
That was, I think, Rob's way of getting the crowd hyped up. Because like we said, the energy in the beginning wasn't where you would think it would be for a normal rock, a normal metal festival.
Yeah.
And so you need guys like Alice, Rob, and Kiss to bring the best out of us. And those, they did.
I think so.
They did so great.
And of course, when I saw Tool back in 2019, and they don't allow you to film until the very last couple songs. They say, okay, in the last couple songs, now you can get your phones out.
Okay.
But for the first whole, 3/4 of the show, you gotta have no phones in. I think that's better, because I think a lot of us, especially me, just because I know myself, is that I rarely go back and actually look at the photos that I took. That's just like one really good one. There's always one good, like really good one, and then 50 of them suck.
Yeah.
Of course, with Kiss, it's a little different because they give you so many good opportunities for so many great. Because I had my phone out last night. I'll be honest.
Oh, I did too.
I took a couple photos and took one good video.
I'm the master.
I don't regret it.
I've mastered my techniques.
They give you so many opportunities to get some really good shots.
Kiss has embraced that whole thing because
they never really frowned upon it.
Well, I mean, there was a time where it was obviously illegal to do that.
Yeah,
as the second they put cameras on cell phones, they had to get over it because if that was the case, if they kept saying no more videos, no more photographs at concerts,
it's going to turn people off.
Nobody's going to go to concerts anymore. If you walk up to a show and someone says, "All right, give me your phone," I'm taking your phone from you.
I saw that.
Someone's going to.
Well, at Jack White, people were pissed.
Yes.
I mean, people were like, and I was kind of mad because I couldn't check the time for like 4 because I came early.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't check what time it was.
Nothing.
I mean, like if there was an emergency, you wouldn't know because you can't look at your phone, but you'd have to go take it to a special person who can unlock it. And believe me, I tried to rip that thing open.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah, and I think Kiss really embraced it because the industry as a whole the music industry has kind of been forced to deal with a lot of crap as far as like file sharing, illegal downloading, bringing cameras to shows. But Kiss, I think, has really leaned into it because
it's promotion.
Everything they do on stage is a photographic moment. If you had a camera on a tripod faced towards Kiss and you were blindfolded,
it's my dream,
and you were just told to press the button at any point during a Kiss show, every single picture would probably be really good because every pose they do is photographic. They are the most photogenic band ever. Every pose they do, Paul putting his guitar between his legs, Gene and his tongue pointing, I mean, the pyro, the way it's structured and their lights and their graphics and their logo, it's like every single second of a Kiss concert is a Kodak moment. It's photo worthy. It's beautiful.
That's why it's so hard to not have your
picture
phone
perfect.
Out.
It may not always have been that way. Again, those shows in the early days, there wasn't really a whole lot on the stage, but again, the show just kind of scales as you go.
True.
But I mean, we're still seeing.
I look at that as like just free marketing for the band. Post a killer photo of Kiss with the pyro going off on Facebook. That might get someone else going, "Hey, that looks pretty cool. Maybe I ought to go see him."
And Kiss fans, I think, do the most advertising for Kiss. Because we're sitting here on our podcast.
Look at us.
We do album reviews, we do show reviews.
We're not even getting paid to do this.
We do product reviews. I mean,
we're drinking the money bag soda.
We drink money bag on the show every week.
We're drinking the red Kool-Aid, if you will.
Absolutely, we drink all the Kool-Aid. But
good.
It's good Kool-Aid. Exactly. I got a sugar high.
I buy what I like.
I got a forever sugar high.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about as far as this show?
Other than just stressing the sentiment, is that if you ever get the chance to see him,
do it.
Just do yourself a favor and go see him. I mean, this was our 14th show. It might be our last. It probably will be our last. That was the best Kiss show I've ever been to.
Absolutely insane.
I mean, it's just that should say it all. Almost 50 years later, this band has continued to outdo themselves. We're gonna do a little unboxing moment here. Did you finally get the vinyl?
Yep.
For the latest off the soundboard in Des Moines.
Yep, we did our review I think 2 episodes ago.
And you still haven't unboxed the vinyl.
And I got the vinyl, and we are now about to check it out. Which, I mean, again, we're not looking for anything crazy as far as the packaging goes. We all know it's the same.
Yeah.
But we've done, I think, unboxings for all of the Off the Soundboards up until this point, so it does seem kind of fitting that we would just kind of keep the tradition going, especially since they're doing the really cool colored vinyl with the limited edition Kiss Online LP releases.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what I'm wanting to look at right now.
Like this one's already my favorite.
They're doing the color scheme. Color scheme, and this one is by far.
This one's the best one.
I can't find it. Mine's sealed in there for good.
That looks really freaking cool.
How beautiful.
That's the nicest color.
Oh, look at the label. It's like intentionally worn.
Is that pink or purple? I can't tell.
It's a beautiful purple.
Oh, okay. I can't
tell. It is
a
beautiful purple.
That's nice.
It looks nice too. I love the labels on it. It looks intentionally worn.
Like it's got that distressed look.
Gosh dang. Yeah, I'm gonna go bump this.
So this is the latest. So you've got all of the limited edition vinyl off the soundboards. Is that correct?
I do. That is correct.
And you've got them all on CD as well.
All on CD. Yep. I'm not. I know some fans were going even harder and doing the T-shirts and the buttons and the pins and the this and that. For the Tokyo one, I did get the trading cards.
Yeah, I got
because I thought those were cool. And if the Virginia Beach ones hadn't been sold out, I would have continued to buy those. But it's fine. I don't need it. I'm good. I just want the music, man. And I love these off the soundboards that they're doing. And so far, the next one has not been announced. And I'm wondering if they're going to wait a little bit because these have been coming out. Boom, boom, boom.
Along with the box set, they've got so much stuff on the way.
Well, they've got our money. They've got our money secured, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They're getting it all.
I like
between the box sets and the the soundboards.
I feel like this packaging translates better on the vinyl than the CD. I don't know. Holding it feels nice.
The cardboard?
Yeah.
So you're coming around on it?
I mean, it's. I would still rather have artwork, but I feel like it's kind of nice.
For sure.
I like vinyl. It's whatever.
At this point, I really don't have. We were very critical of the packaging in the beginning for these off the soundboards.
Well, for what it is, it's great. But
for what it is, it's great. But for the money you're paying, it would be nice to have a little bit of something extra.
Just because it's Kiss, we want more photos, extras, stuff like they're doing with the box set. But anyway, that's a side note. T42 Design does a great job.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. T42
I would rather not have anyone else do it than T42
Follow
Design.
them on Instagram, T42 Design. They've done a lot of work for Kiss, but other bands as well. And if you're if you're like me and you like packaging and design and artwork, follow them. But anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up for this. This is episode 35 of the Kiss and Everything's podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much if you're still watching and still listening at the very end. We thank you so much, and that means that you must like the show. And if that's the case, please like and subscribe. And if you want more Kiss Army things, check us out on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, check us out on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, you can follow us on TikTok if you want. We're not really active on TikTok that much, but we are there on TikTok if you want.
If you don't have TikTok, give us a call.
Text me. If you don't have Facebook or Instagram, get a Facebook or an Instagram so that you can follow Kiss Army things, because we're bringing some of the best Kiss content on the internet. That's what we do. Yeah. It's just, hey, we're here to entertain. We want to entertain and be entertained, and Kiss is the most entertaining band ever. And so we're glad that you guys want to sit here and talk Kiss with us. Jeb, is there anything you want to add as we're closing up?
No.
Go see
I'm
Kiss.
Tired.
He's like, I'm gonna take a nap after this.
Yeah.
After two money bag sodas, you're not.
Yeah, I had to make up for the last couple episodes. I didn't drink any.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Like and subscribe. Leave your comments on what you guys think about this tour and think about Kiss. Have you seen them on this tour? What did you think? Was it the best? Was it the worst? Did they suck?
And what other bands have you seen on tour?
Sure.
And go see live music, because that's what's keeping me alive right now.
Absolutely. Anyway, till next time on the Kiss Army Things podcast, my name is Xander.
My name's Jed.
Peace.